Welcome back, dear friend. My name is Zach Treby, and welcome to the Zach Treby School of Drums, where I help people build successful, high-paying careers in the music industry in order to live a great life and to get their time back. And that's just a few perks of how to live a great life. Sorry, I'm just readjusting myself here. Okay, so today we're going to look at a few, before I get into this, Anika's thing. There's a bunch of steps in how to build a music career, and we're going to look at one of those steps. And Anika used a few, if you go back, and, success leaves clues, right? So if you go back and you kind of study how drummers made it, or it's really, if you understand business, that's the key to all of this, is business. That's the key. So in understanding that, all right, that everything needs to be built, okay, that's really the gist of this whole thing. Is when you take time to build something, usually people think it's overnight, but it's not overnight. It's actually something that's been in the works behind the scenes, and you just didn't know about it. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about Anika's YouTube utilization and how she used it to build a career. And if you follow this particular direction, you can build a music career, because again, it's just business. That's all we're really talking about. And to keep it simple, she used a few steps, whether you're on YouTube or you're playing in a band, or both. It's all promotion. And that's the thing. People don't know about you, right? If you don't have an audience, you can't really build any kind of real clientele, because everything takes an audience. If you think about it, and I say this in my book, without people, nothing happens. Like literally nothing. Without people, we don't have food, because we need farmers, right? Without people, we don't have products. Without people, we can't do anything. Without people, we can't have sex. Without people, we can't have friendships. You see what I'm saying? Anything. Without people, you can't do anything. And that's what I'm kind of talking about, is it's promotion when it comes down to it. It's basically people knowing about you. And that doesn't take long, right? If you understand business. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about Anika's YouTube career, because that was just one step in the whole process, okay? Obviously, from the beginning, she wrote music, right? But now the way she published that was through YouTube, right? If you go back into the early days, 2010s, she released a few songs, and I believe the first, was it the first one or two? I'm not really sure, but I think the first one got some serious views, if I'm not mistaken. Because the thing with that is YouTube was still kind of new, because even though it was like 9 years in, right? That's kind of new when it comes to business, right? Yeah, they say that business takes like 3 to 5 years. No, that's not true. It actually takes longer than that to actually gain some type of a following, unless you're all over the place, right? That's different. If you're literally all over the place, then people, it's easier to find you. But getting back to this, so Anika basically, she released an original called Wild Boy, right, in 2013, right, followed by Alter Ego in 2014. And she left, I believe, her job or something to pursue a career in music. So obviously, if you look back, in the early days, the Ed Sullivan Show, and I've been saying this, the Ed Sullivan Show was like the show to be on. And that's why we have the generation of drummers that grew up with Ringo Starr, right? It's because Ringo, people saw him, right, on the show. Well, YouTube is the same exact thing. And, YouTube is not difficult to utilize. It's actually a lot simpler than what people think. Now, if you fast forward to a little bit into Anika's career, I believe it was somewhere around 2016, she shows up on Drumeo, right? Okay, so Drumeo was another one, right? Another one that came into play around the same time of Anika. Maybe just a little bit earlier. I'm not sure. But Drumeo being a big beast for drummers, right? And they're huge now because they went on YouTube and that was their main platform, and that's what they chose to use. And it's not surprising because the great thing about YouTube is it stores everything and it's always there. That's the cool part. It's long form video, right? Long form, and it's evergreen, meaning it's always going to be up there. So that means for you, right? So you, the career musician, right? The aspiring career musician, okay? Let's say you decide, okay, I want to build a music career, and I want to do it from my studio. Okay, that's a great idea, okay? And a lot of people have done that. We could sit here and talk for hours about people we've seen on YouTube and them building a career. So let's talk about how to do that. So, by the way, and I'm going to preface this, Anika documented everything, and I mean everything, okay? When she played live and was on tour a few times, she documented it, right? It's on YouTube, and that should kind of raise an eyebrow to us. That should kind of make us go, okay, there's something to this. And there is. It's really no different than commercials when we were younger. Or when I was younger, I should say, right? I'm in my 40s, and I grew up before the internet. So it was a different time, right? So now, let's say you wanted to, since we're done with that, since you want to, if you wanted to grow a career on YouTube, it's very simple, okay? If you're a drummer or whatever, you don't even have to be a drummer, right? If you just start posting videos of what you do, right? Let's say you're a drummer. Let's just say, okay, definitely demonstrate your skills, right? So whatever gig you want, all right, start playing that, right? Start playing music from that. It doesn't have to be your own stuff like Anika, although it can be if you'd like, if you have that skill or those skills. That's a fantastic skill to have, which is playing other instruments and recording it. That's great. I'm in that space, but let's say you're just a drummer. Okay, well, that's easy. Start releasing covers. And of course, you're going to say, oh, but everyone else has done it. Yeah, well, you haven't. And that's something that I tell my students and my coaching clients all the time, is the fact that there's a saturation in the market means there's a lot of room for you, right? So people have seen drum covers from everybody else, but not from you. So guess what? Why don't you get in there and become part of the problem? So let's kill that now. Let's say you're an aspiring drum teacher, okay? And you want to build a career, or let's say an online teaching career. That's not hard. It's very simple. All you got to do is release, I would say about 20 to 30 minutes of a long form video, right? Of you teaching a topic that could help somebody. That's a great passion point, and not only a great passion point, but a great skill to have, because you're going to hone that skill. You probably know this already if you're a drum teacher. And this could be something else. Like, let's say you're on tour, or you're a break from tour, and you want to teach in the meantime. Lots of drummers have done that. Todd Suckerman from Styx does that, I believe, or he has. So that's another avenue you can go. So you can have long form content, right? Because with long form YouTube content, it's easier to go deeper into a subject, and that way people can see who you are and they can get to know you a little bit. So that's kind of what happened with Anika. The more she played, and people realized that she could really play, and she was great at it. She didn't teach, although she did teach at, I think she is a teacher at Pop Academy, I believe. Oh, am I popping this? Probably. I don't know. I don't have my pop filter on my microphone, so I don't really care because the episode's got to get done, right? So, so that's another avenue you can go, right? Just like Anika, you can do that. It's not hard. It really isn't. And so, with Anika, when she was documenting everything, she had a wide variety of videos for people. And, it's really no different from back in the day, when people would watch they watch like shows on TV, because, shows would come on weekly, right? And you had to wait for, when the shows were on, you had to wait 1 week for the next episode, and it drove us crazy, but it kept you involved, though. It kept you wanting more. So if you treat YouTube like that, right, I'm giving you the golden keys here, because the algorithm is set up no different than way back when people were trying, people that, they're trying to keep viewers, and the way they did that was they kept one episode coming out once a week. So guess what? If you do the same thing with YouTube, it's going to recognize it, and it's going to put you in there, right? And that way you can build quite a following. It might not be right away. Maybe it will. Who knows? But, you got to try. And that's the thing. You got to put yourself out there. Because if nobody knows who you are, and we're going to get to that in a minute, okay? Nobody knows who you are. How are you going to build a career? And that's why we need an audience. Everyone needs an audience. And what's funny is you don't need a big one at first, okay? You don't. And if you're worth your salt, you will build, right? Just naturally, people will like you. You don't have to set up this great, gigantic personality or anything like that. You don't have to deck your studio out or anything, although that does help. People are going to like you, and, people like different things. One person likes more rugged stuff, rugged videos, and the other person likes more polished. And not all audience members are created equal, yet we think they are, because that's what we think. But we look at people the way we look at ourselves, and that's not reality. You know what I mean? Because everyone has certain likes and dislikes and varying tastes. So, you never know who's going to like your stuff, right? So, again, getting back to, building a career, follow that Anika YouTube blueprint. Try it, release a few things and do it consistently. I think you'll be surprised in what you find. Now, just to kind of sweeten the pot here, I'm going to share some great businesses that have built careers, even utilizing YouTube to this day, right? And one of them was not a part of YouTube because it came from way back when. But we're gonna start with just Drumeo, right? Because that's obviously something we have to talk about because Anika was featured on that, wasn't she? Right? And Drumeo wasn't like massive at that time. They were, but not like globally. now they're everywhere. And it's split into something else. I think it's Mizora or something like that. Which is normal in business. It's good to pivot. It's good to pivot every now and again. But basically, Drumeo, it's a Canadian online music education platform, right? And their main thing was YouTube, and Jared Folk started that. And, before that, I believe he released a few books. This is before that whole his Drumeo thing. And, I remember back in the day, they had Thomas Pridgeon on, they had Thomas Lang, they had Bernard Purdy. Oh man, there were some good ones. Daphnis Prieto. Oh my God, some of these drummers. And you know what? Listen, it's no secret that these guys are still known today because YouTube is evergreen. So it's easy. See, that's what I'm saying. If you spend some time, you could do the same thing. It's not difficult. I promise. It's not difficult. So if you follow that, and you talk about long form, because they used to do just hour-long things or interviews with people, and they play, and it was great. I mean, some of the best drummers were on there, although they didn't get like Dave Weckl or anything like that yet. I think they're working on that, but we'll see what happens. Because I don't think they're done yet, although I will admit I did like them a little bit more back in the day. But like anything, that's neither here nor there. Business needs to change, right? It needs to pivot. I'm sure 10 years from now, I might be doing something a little different in a different direction. Obviously, after something grows. Okay, now let's talk about a company that has been around a lot longer than Anika and Drumeo combined. Here we go. So WWE, okay, wrestling. Listen, when Netflix came on the scene, okay, so again, we're talking about promotion, right? Not just YouTube, because YouTube's just one video platform, right? So look, when Netflix came on the scene, they were smaller, right, back in the day, right? WWE started a long time ago, back in like the 70s? Either the 60s or 70s, I don't remember, by Vince McMahon's dad, right? And fast forward, right? They were on TV with Raw's War, and before that it was Superstars. And they had a once a week showing, right? Show. And it was shown on TV. So it was built, and they gained the markets on television, right? And the viewers. So there you go, the power of television. And YouTube is the same exact thing. The only thing about YouTube is it's free, and you can literally build your own thing on it, right? And what does WWE, besides Netflix, utilize today? They are actively right now as we speak, uploading thousands of videos to YouTube. And they've been doing that, okay, ever since their deal with Peacock ended, okay? So there you go, because they realize YouTube is evergreen. It's always going to be there unless something happens, which it could. But for the most part, it won't. Because listen, YouTube is the second most popular and biggest search engine next to Google, because Google owns it. So you talk about pivoting. That's a good example. So then my question, good sir, is why would you not get on YouTube and build a career? Why wouldn't you? The rest of us are doing it because we understand that's some of us that are smart about business. We understand that YouTube is a part of that. That's where the business is at. Part of it. All right. Not everyone's on social media or YouTube. Not everyone uses that, right? Because some people just don't want anything to do with any kind of online platform at all. There are people like that. So, but anyway, we can get into that later. That's a whole separate video. But this kind of goes to show you how important, if you want to build a career, it might not be a bad idea, good sir, to get on YouTube. And listen, it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It could be super simple. People will enjoy it because we're designed to enjoy videos. You know what I mean? We're designed to be entertained. We like variety of things. That's why we like stories and, varying types of stories. So what's yours? And tell a story with your videos. Tell your background, like where you came from, how you got started and wanting to build a career in music. I mean, listen, I help musicians build their music careers to obtain high-paying gigs, so they can build great lives. I mean, because I know how to do it, because I've done it. It's not difficult, okay? So that's why I have coaching clients and students, And, listen, this is like one of the steps that I teach in the my Gig Ready Drummer Challenge, right? And this is the one that most people walk away with the most clarity, right? They walk away with the most clarity is the whole YouTube thing. And then once that happens, once I hit them with that, they're off to the races because they realize how easy it is. And, it's funny. My friend Kyle, he thinks that, and I told him, listen, he's a window cleaner, right? And, he's like, let's say 61, 62. And he's like financially struggling, right? Let's call it that. And, I told him, Kyle, why don't you get on YouTube? Just, share a bunch of videos about window cleaning and how to do it, and he lives in an apartment and he's like, well, how can I make videos if I'm not on jobs? And I'm like, dude, people don't care about that. You can do the outside and the inside of your apartments. There's enough windows. You can show different things, like different angles. And it's true. He can make a killing, but he overthinks it and he never gets down to doing it. And that's part of people's problems, right? And I used to be like that, but then you realize when you think about how business is built, you're kind of like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, that might not be a bad idea, to get on YouTube, right? I was just telling my friend Robin, she's teaching me a little bit of vocals, and I said to her, hey, listen, why don't you, because she can escape the rat race, right? And I said, if you get on YouTube, why don't you make some long-form video content and start teaching, and people will pay you. They will, because there's a market for everybody, or I should say, there's big money in every market or every niche, right? So when I hit people in my Gig Ready Drummer Challenges with the YouTube thing, right away they go nuts, and it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. If you have an iPhone or some kind of smartphone, great, there's your video right there. Yeah, I know people are going to say, what about the microphone? Listen, you got to start somewhere. Right? Let's be honest. You got to start somewhere. So just start. If you want to go hiking in the woods and make a video there, go do it. Like, people will love that. Like, they'll love that. I mean, there is a market for that, because there are people that like hiking, right? So it doesn't need to be anything extravagant. because people are simple when it really comes down to it, right? So anyway, speaking of the Gig Ready Drummer Challenge, it's a 5 multi-day online challenge that I run once a month, every month. And basically what we go through is part of what we went through today, which is the steps on how to build a high-paying career. And it's really easy. It's really just promotion. So if you want to be a part of that, there's some links in the description, and you can click on those. One of them is the Gig Ready Drummer Challenge. And listen, it's a lot of fun. I teach it live on Zoom, and people love it. It's so easy. It's so simple. You spend an hour with me a day, unless you want the VIP, then that's different, right? That starts the hour before the actual challenge. So it's 2 different prices, but it's affordable, right? Speaking of other links, there's one, and this is really for me to be able to communicate with you guys, and I'm going to give you something. Now, it's not one of those links where you click it and then it downloads immediately after you put in the email address. It's my 12 highest paying gigs, right? PDF. Now, here's the thing. I just want you to ask for it, right? If you click the link for that, I'll send it to you, but just send me a message, right? Saying, hi, my name is so-and-so. I would very much like to have the PDF, and I'll send it to you. Listen, but I want to connect. I want to know who you are. I want to build relationships, because again, without people, nothing happens. We are designed to be connected, aren't we? Let's be honest. We're designed to connect. We're not designed to be behind closed doors, isolated from each other or one another. We're just not designed for that, and if we're not careful, social media will get you thinking that you are designed to be isolated. Well, you're not. I got news for you. If all this social media stuff went away, everything, the phones, the computers, everything, guess what we would have? Each other. And you know what? Let me tell you something. There's nothing better than being able to hang with somebody in person, and that's true. If you're honest, if you get honest with yourself, if all of us get honest with ourselves, that's true, right? So that's why I just want to know who you are. Tell me what your name is, where you're from. Just introduce yourself. Like, hi, I'm Ryan. I'm from, I don't know, Minnesota, whoever you're from. And I'm interested in getting your 12 highest paying gigs PDF. And I will happily send it to you, right? I just want to connect with you guys. That's it. It's not that difficult, right? I know I'm not going the traditional email download route, because, well, quite frankly, I wouldn't even know how to do that. So so that's a conversation for my computer guy, right? So anyway, so if you want it, please, by all means, right? Or if you want to talk with me directly, I'll jump on a video call with you, and so you can realize I'm a real person. God forbid I'm a real person, right? So anyway, this is fun. I really enjoy giving this knowledge out because it's so easy. Anyone could build a music career. Seriously, it's not that difficult. Don't let anyone tell you different. Okay, friend? So anyway, I'm signing off. So this was a lot of fun. I'm really excited for the next one. But until then, see you soon.